Welcome to the Positively Portugal Football Report for round 30. My name is Howie, and it was another very busy week in Portuguese football. It started last Wednesday with the second leg of the Taça semifinal between Porto and Vitória. Porto was up 1-0 going into the second leg. They won 3-1, which means 4-1 on aggregate. They will advance to the final against Sporting. Porto and Vitória have been in miserable runs of form in the last couple of months in the league. But the better team won. I don't think anyone is surprised that Porto advanced over Vitória. I do believe that the final on May 26th is going to be a very good game. The Taça now is all that Porto has to play for. They are not going to be in the Champions League next season. And Sporting is playing to show their place in Portuguese football history. If they can do the domestic double with the season that they've had in the league, they're going to show that they're one of the best teams in the history of Portuguese football. Obviously not the best, but this has been an exceptional team. So, again, Sporting versus Porto in the Taça final on May 26th. The next day, we had Benfica getting eliminated in the Europa League. They lost in the quarterfinal. It did surprise me. I thought Benfica was going to win, and for the good of Portuguese football, I was actually cheering for Benfica to win. Might have been the first time in my life that happened, but I was cheering for Benfica to win. It wasn't meant to be. They lost on penalties. Now, throughout the course of the tie, they did blow a 2-0 lead. Marseille got that late goal in Lisbon in the first leg to make themselves competitive for the second, and, sure enough, they did enough, and lo and behold, that's the end of Benfica's European dream. But now there's a lot of talk amongst Benfica fans that they want Roger Schmidt fired. What do you think of that, Benfica fans? I want to hear from you. Do you want him gone? Do you want him back? I think Benfica right now is the most interesting team in Portuguese football, despite the fact that they're going to have a trophyless season other than the Supertaça. But with the changes coming to Porto and the potential breakup of Sporting, Benfica really does have a chance to reassert their dominance in Portugal for the foreseeable future. So my question to you now is, changing the manager the right way to go? Or do you want to show that you're as stable as possible? If you sack Roger Schmidt, who do you want to take his place? Who's out there? I want to hear from you, Benfica fans. Tell me what you think. But moving on to the Primeira Liga, we had Rio Ave and Arouca playing to a 1-1 draw. Gil Vicente 1-0 over Moreirense. Boa Vista and Estrela 1-1 draw. Braga 2-1 over Vizela. Chaves and Estoril a 2-2 draw. Famalicão and Portimonense a 2-2 draw in a pretty embarrassing display from Portimonense. Famalicão went down a man in the 34th minute while they were down 1-0, and they scored 2 goals. Now, Portimonense ended up getting the equalizer, but for a team that's in the relegation playoff, not exactly what you need. And that, of course, will tell you why Portimonense is in the relegation playoff. Porto 2-1 over Casa Pia. Sporting 3-0 over Vitória. So really a bad week for Vitória. And Benfica 3-1 over Farense. Now, the team of the week has got to be Gil Vicente, who hadn't done a damn thing in the last 2 months. They had 7 consecutive winless games. They lost 4 in a row. And they went into Moreirense and win 1-0. Moreirense, this really stands out to me. This team has just completely quit on the season. They've given up. They have fallen into 7th place. They were in 6th for the majority of the season. Arouca has overtaken them. And, I know that in Portuguese football, there is no difference between 6th and 7th because neither spot is going to give you a European place. You're only getting into the Conference League if you finish in 4th. But I'll tell you, there are some people who this means something to, and that's the people who are in charge of the paychecks of these Moreirense players. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the owner of the team or the president of the team, however Moreirense is run. I'm talking about the fans who have to sit there and witness this garbage. This team is now just running around and doing nothing. They're putting everybody to sleep. They are 100% on vacation. It's remarkable to see. And these poor fans who have to go there and sit in what is probably the worst stadium in Portugal and watch these fools run around in stupid-looking kits that look like a child painted over them. These fans deserve better. This is a real load of crap. And as a result, Moreirense is this week's biggest loser. So, the relegation zone unchanged. Vizela at the bottom. Chaves on top of them. Portimonense 1 point behind in the relegation playoff race. Look, if they didn't beat Famalicão up a man for most of the game with that lead, I don't see how they're avoiding this relegation playoff. Their only saving grace is that they get to play Moreirense at home this weekend. So, obviously, we now have the top of the table unchanged. Sporting ahead by 7 points with 4 matches left. Benfica in second. Porto is in a tie with Braga for third place, but Porto does have the tiebreaker. So, that's all we got for this week. And again, Benfica fans, I want to hear from you. What do you think of Roger Schmidt? I know that a lot of you are not happy with the tactics, the formations, the substitutions, but, is he really, should he really be fired? You got to remember, Benfica did win the league last year, and they're in a prime position to really destroy everything in their paths in Portugal next season. So, again, I want to hear from you, and as always, I want to thank you for watching. If you like what you're seeing, if you want to hear more about Portuguese football or the process of moving to Portugal in general, please hit that subscribe button, and once again, thank you, everybody.